I decided to make a tutorial on how to add attachments to your wreath. And I thought, well, if I'm going to record it, I might as well go live and show you how to do it live. I will pin this at my different media spots for you, just so that everyone can save it and come back to it for reference. So what I have here is I have different attachments that I personally use. I have a metal sign, sublimated sign. I have a wood piece. Now this is something like you would get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It's the thin wood pieces that you would paint or sublimate or use Cricut to put wording on. So I picked it out because it's that thin metal or wood piece. Then I got one of the lollipops, the foam pieces I make, that has a felt fabric backing. Okay, and then I got one of the foam boo signs. Now this is different materials, and I wanted to show you how I add attachment points to each one of these different materials. Okay, so first off, let's start off with the easy one, the boo sign. If you look at the boo sign carefully, you can see it's a textured foam background. Hello, Justin. So with a textured foam background, I'm going to use the same method that I use for everything. Okay, I'm going to take, these are called cable mounts. I get mine at Deco Exchange, and I will put the link in the comments for you. Okay, with my cable mounts on fabric like this, it's so easy to use. You can put just one in the center, or you can put two, one on each side. I like to put one on each side. So what I do is I take my super glue, and I just put a small dot in the center of my attachment points, or my cable mounts. Okay, come on, Mr. Glue. Probably time to get a new bottle. There we go. You don't need a lot, just a small dot will do it. Now what that does, that gives me some super glue for extra hold. It gives me the pads, the textured or the sticky pads for immediate hold. Okay, and so then I just place those where I want them. Now this is going to hold. One time in 3 years, I had a plastic piece come off, just once. So then what I do is I take my hot glue, and I'm going to run a bead of hot glue around that cable mount. Now what that does is it makes sure that the plastic piece is sealed to that fabric. It also makes sure the plastic piece is sealed to that foam sticky. Okay, just run a bead around. That's all you have to do. Okay, and then I would set this aside to cool and to set while I make my wreath. And that's how you attach a fabric or a soft foam attachment and add attachment points that will not come off. I've used this method, like I said, for 3 years. I had a wreath sitting out on my front porch on a pillar for 2 summers. I used this method for both the metal sign and wreath attachment that I had made, and it stuck for 2 years. And when I finally got tired of the design and threw it away, it was still stuck firm. So this is going to hold. All right, so we're going to set that aside and let that cool. Next, my foam lollipops, or somebody's foam attachment that you buy, and they put a felt background on it. Okay, you're going to use the same method. You're going to take one of your sticky mounts. You're going to put a drop of super glue on the back, just a drop, like that. Can you see that it's just got a small dot of glue on it? And then you're going to stick it to where you want your attachment point. Hold it for a minute, make sure it's good and firm, and then run a bead of glue around. Okay, just like that. And you've got an attachment point that is not going to come off. That's going to be on there. Okay, we'll set this one aside. Next is those thin wood pieces. Now, if this was at least a 1/4 inch, you could use a staple, but this is less than a 1/4 inch, so your staple would go through. What I do is I take a sanding block, just a cheap sanding block that you get at the store, and I rough up the surface. You don't have to do a whole lot. Make sure you wipe off the dust. And what that does is it gives scratches for your super glue and your foam stickies to attach to. Okay, again, the same method. Drop of super glue. I'm going to have to buy some more super glue. Okay, just a small dot will do you, and you put it where you roughed up the surface. Hold it. And now that it's stuck on, just run a bead of hot glue on all 4 sides of that mount, that cable mount. And there you go. You've got an attachment point, and you don't have to worry about staples coming through the other side. It's on there for good. Okay? Set this aside. Now those will cool and set while you make your wreath. So if you do it the first thing, then your attachment's going to be ready by the time you finish your project. Okay, now we're going to do the sublimated signs. The metal signs are a little different because they're smooth. There's really nothing for the glue to grab a hold of. So what I'm going to do, I usually make points at the top and bottom. I take an alcohol swab and I'm going to wipe it down first off to make sure there's no oil residue where I'm going to be attaching. Okay, just wipe it real quick. And you can see that it's going to dry. Then I take my sanding block and I'm going to rough up a patch where I'm going to attach. Now this doesn't hurt the sign. It doesn't show through. Okay? And you can see where I've made scratches. Make sure I wipe off any metal filings. Now by scratching it up or scuffing it up, it's going to give my glue grooves to grab a hold of, places to grab and stick to. Again, I use my mounting squares. I put just a dab. A dot of super glue on it. And place it where I scratched it up. Same with the bottom. Okay. Hold them down for a few minutes. All right. Now, since this is metal, the hot glue is not going to stick to it. But the same theory that you can glue the foam piece to the top plastic mount with your glue. This also seals your mount and make sure it stays well secured. And you do that on all 4 sides, on both mounts. Okay, you set it aside and let it set while you build your wreath, and then you have your attachment points. Now, I don't put attachment points on the attachments I make. And the reason I don't is because what if you need just one attachment point? Okay, well, what if you're going to put it in a garland and you want 2 points so that you can have it at an angle so it will attach and sit at an angle? What if you're going to put this in a centerpiece and you don't want anything on the back because you don't want that to be showing? So you can stick it in a centerpiece. What if you're going to hang it on the wall? You know, you don't want this big black piece on it if you're just going to hang it on the wall. Put on a, what do you call those command strips? Those little sticky command strips? And hang it and stick it on the wall. You don't want that heavy black piece on there. So I don't put attachments on it because I don't know what you're going to use this for. Your designs or your artwork, and I'm just one of the what do you call it, elements that you use in your artwork. And I love to see the different ways people use my attachments that I make. Okay, this is cool. You see, I can pull on that. That is not coming off. It's going nowhere. And even in the hot Texas sun, if the hot glue gets soft, you still have that foam pad and that super glue adhering to your metal sign. And that's not going to come off in the heat. Okay? So that's the 3 ways, or that's the way I attach all of my attachments and signs. Like I said, I'll put the link for the cable mounts and for the type of super glue I use if you're interested in the comments. But basically, metal, fabric, foam, or wood. Same method to attach an attachment point. All right, that's all I have to teach you this morning. I want to thank you so all for coming and watching. I appreciate your time, and you all have a wonderful Monday, okay? Start your week off with a happiness. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.